how much time we got? Now, I don't even think I could answer that question. Now, what I could tell you is that music is important and it's played a big role in our lives from the beginning of time. Whether it's culturally, religiously, artistically, or just to party, music is always important, and it's important to every human. Although there is those people that don't like music, and I've met a couple. I thought they were weird, but that's what I think. Now, how music is created is combining two key elements. One of them is the instrumentation, whether it's a guitar, drums, trumpets, pianos, voices, and what you do with those instruments, whether it's the melodies, the harmonies, the tempos, the rhythms. Those two things put together, that's what really creates music and creates different genres of music too, from classical music to opera, to funk, blues, hip hop, pop, electronica, metal, hardcore. It's all put together with those key elements: instruments, rhythms, melodies, and obviously your heart. I think the beauty of music is that it never stops evolving. So I could imagine, a caveman in the beginning of time, carrying a big old log and, start banging it. Boom, 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 boom. And this girl shows up and is like, oh, what are you doing, And even like when Beethoven started creating symphonies, people thought it was weird. 1900s came along and people started making jazz, and they thought that was nonsense. They thought they didn't even know how to play. Then the 1980s, punk rock came along. They thought it was noise. And hip hop came along. They thought they were just saying gibberish, So I think that the beauty of it all is that you never know where it's gonna go. My name is Mario Cortez. I was born and raised in South Central Los Angeles. I'm the fourth sibling of 8 brothers. So we're a big family. My parents were good Catholics. There was no Netflix, so they did what they had to do, like Nike said. Growing up, my parents didn't have money, so whatever we had to share, which was a little bit. My first music memory I remember was when I was in kinder. I had a teacher, her name is Garcia, who had like this instrument called the auto harp, which I had never heard of. And actually, after I played music, when I started playing music, I kind of found out the name of it and what it was. But it's basically like a harp. It had a bunch of strings, and you would press a button and then basically strum it like a guitar. And when you would press a button, it would be like playing a chord on a guitar. So you just press it, and she would just strum it. And she would sing a bunch of songs, and that was one of the first ones. And then another one was, being in church with my mom, and my mom always forcing us to open the book and try to sing the songs that we had, that we were singing. So yeah, that was one of the first memories of music that I remember. And growing up, I wasn't the best kid. I had a lot of brothers, so I learned the good and the bad. From being in LA, we moved to this little town up in Northern California, to be closer to my grandparents. And moving up north was totally different because it was a small town. Everything was different from where we were from in LA, and to adapt to the little town, it took a lot of time and a lot of fights. But eventually music was my escape, and it became my career. I remember the first instrument that we had was a guitar that my parents didn't buy because we didn't have money, but my brother Carlos ended up borrowing from my aunt. And he borrowed the guitar from my aunt, and he didn't even really use it too much, so I ended up picking it up and trying to figure it out. And at church they had like people playing music, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna just go over there and see what they could teach me. So I started going to church and taking the guitar and trying to see what I could learn from them, and eventually I learned everything I could from what they were playing, and I met rock and roll. I started playing rock music, and with the band we had the opportunity to tour all over the country with a couple of bands. And after doing that for the first time, I knew I kind of wanted to keep on doing that over and over and over. It wasn't the best, but it was great in the sense where I got to travel to places I would have never imagined to travel to. I got to play music and get paid to play music, although we didn't get paid a lot. But it was something that I really enjoyed. You get to meet new people and just see a whole bunch of different things. From there, it just kind of started growing, and little by little, it became my life, my career, my everything. After going on tour for the first time, I knew I wanted to do that for a living. I knew I wanted to make a career out of music. So I decided to, take the route, go to college, try to get a music degree. And I remember applying to college, applying to the music program, and having the interview with the advisor. And me telling him, that I had gone on tour, that I could play various instruments, that I had written a whole bunch of songs. And him telling me, well, most of the people that are part of the program have been playing music since elementary school, since junior high, since high school. So they have all these years of experience. So basically he encouraged me not to be part of the program. When he told me that, it really hit me in a place where I didn't imagine. But I knew I had to prove him wrong, so I decided to apply for all those classes and try to do it. The best part was that when I was doing that, I was already going on tour. I was playing with different bands, from orchestras to rock bands to reggae bands to cover bands. I was doing it, so it was the best feeling, being able to prove myself to all those people. There are different types of instruments from different places, from all over the world, and they're made at different times. But regardless of what instrument it is, it still belongs to an instrument family. We're going to talk about 4 instrument families. The first instrument family is called the percussion family. The percussion family is any instrument that you hit, you tap, or you shake using your hands or using sticks. So here, I actually have these, which are the bongo drums, okay? And a good way to know they're bongo drums is that the bongo drums are usually 2 drums that are small and that are connected together. To play the bongo drums, you put them in between your legs like this, or you could also have a stand, but this is the real way to play them, okay? And you use your hands to play them. Bongo drums, part of the percussion family. All right, the second instrument family is called the wind or the brass family. And the wind family, the brass family, is any instrument that is made out of brass and it has curves on it. Another thing about the brass family or the wind family is that to play it, you don't only blow, but you have to actually buzz your lips to play it, and you have to be pressing on valves that go up and down. Okay, so the instrument I have here is a trumpet, and it's not an ordinary trumpet. This is actually called a pocket trumpet because It's smaller than the regular trumpets. Usually trumpets are like this long, okay? But this one's compact. It's cooler. I like it. So, the trumpet has these 3 valves that you press down on, and to play it, you have to blow. Actually, not only blow, but you have to be buzzing. I'm a little rusty. What can I say? All right. The next instrument family we're going to talk about is the string family. And the string family is any instrument that has strings on it, but you have to make a direct contact with the strings, either with your hand, a pick, or with a bow. Okay? So, here I have, you guys know what this is? A ukulele, or ukulele, how they say it in Hawaii. Okay, the ukulele has strings and it has 4 strings. Okay, so it's part of the string family because to play you have to strum just like you would strum a guitar or other instruments, right? Mahalo. All right, part of the string family. The next family we're going to talk about is the woodwind family. And the woodwind family is any instrument that's made out of wood and or brass, and that it has holes that you have to press down on and cover. Okay, it ain't like the trumpet, because the trumpet you have to press down on valves. To play any woodwind instrument, you have to blow on something that's made out of wood, and you have to cover holes or just blow on them, okay? So, I don't have a saxophone, okay? I don't have anything that's made out of brass, but I do have this. A little sound stick. All right, anyways. These are the 4 instrument families. Wind family, or brass family, percussion family, string family, and woodwind family. The woodwind family originally was called the woodwind family because the instruments were made out of wood. But as time went by, they made the woodwind instruments out of different things, such as plastic. Now, the woodwind family also has an important part, which is that to play the woodwind family, you have to cover holes on the instrument. Also, some woodwind instruments have a reed on the mouthpiece that you have to have in order to play that instrument. Now, the instrument I have here is the recorder. A lot of people see it and they think it's called the flute, but the name is the recorder. This is one of the first instruments that some students learn how to play when they're about in elementary school. All right, I'm going to try to play. Let's see if I still remember. All right. The recorder, part of the woodwind family. The history of the guitar is pretty interesting. After trying to figure out who were the people that invented it, I found that there was people from all over the world who claimed they were the ones that created it. But there was a common story that I heard, and that's the story I'm going to tell you. So the inception of the guitar originates in the 1600s. With the creation of an instrument called the lute. The lute was different than the guitar in different forms. The first one was that the lute had a round back. It wasn't flat like the guitar. The lute had 9 strings. It had a neck, but the head of the guitar actually was bent towards the back. In the 1700s, the lute evolved to the vihuela de mano. And the vihuela de mano was different from the lute because they actually made it smaller, they made it flat from the back, and they only had 5 strings on it. In the early 1800s, the winner appeared. The guitar was created, they made it bigger, they added 1 more string, and from there it hasn't really changed much. There are 2 guitars that you probably heard of. One is the electric guitar, the staple of rock and roll music. And there's also the acoustic guitars. Now within the acoustic guitars, there's 2 types. There's the nylon acoustic guitar, or also known as the classical guitar, and there's the steel string guitar. These 2 guitars are very, very similar, but there are 2 main differences. The first one is that this nylon string guitar has strings that are made out of nylon. The steel string guitar has strings that are made out of steel. Another difference is the head of the classical guitar. Usually the classical guitars have these holes on the head. If you look at the steel string guitar, it doesn't have any holes. Now, sound difference, we're gonna see. And here. This is the classical guitar. I'm gonna play so that you hear that the classical guitar actually has a warmer sound, okay? Here is a steel string guitar. The steel string guitar has a more brighter sound, okay? If you listen to it. We're gonna talk about and break down the anatomy of the guitar. This guitar has different parts. The most important part is the biggest part of it, which is the body of the guitar. The body of the guitar is made out of wood, although this one is painted blue. It's wood. On the body of the guitar, there are other parts, such as the bridge of the guitar. The bridge of the guitar is the anchor of the strings. It holds the strings down. Here, we have the sound hole of the guitar. And when you pluck the strings or strum the strings, the vibration that you create goes into the body of the guitar and comes out as music. Here, we have the neck of the guitar. And the neck of the guitar also has 2 components. It's the neck of the guitar, but it's also the fretboard. This is a fretboard right here. 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So this guitar has 21 frets, and that's the common number of frets that a guitar has. Up here, we have the nut of the guitar. And the nut of the guitar is similar to the bridge of the guitar. They play the same role, which is making sure that the strings stay apart and create the height you need. Here we have the head of the guitar. And the head of the guitar has these here, which are the tuning knobs or tuning pegs. Each string is connected to a tuning knob. And each tuning knob is used to tune the guitar. And that's one of the key important things to learn when you're playing the guitar, is how to tune the guitar. Now, if you don't know how to tune a guitar, it's best not to move the tuning knob, because if you don't know how, you could turn the tuning knobs and snap a string or loosen a string until it comes out. So it's important that you don't move the tuning knobs unless you know how to tune it. All right, we have the head of the guitar, the tuning knobs, the nut of the guitar, the neck, the fretboard, the body, the bridge, and the sound hole. Now, there's two ways you could hold the guitar. There is the classical way where you put the guitar in between your legs like so, and you play it like this. It was a little out of tune. There's also another way you could play it, and it's actually the way I prefer to play it, which is this way. Playing your guitar this way, you're basically in the middle of what your left hand is doing on the fretboard and what your right hand is doing with the strings. So I'm going to put that together. The guitar.
Paro al chofer y le digo, llévame a un lugar donde encuentre la felicidad. Quiero dejar al abismo a toda la maldad. Quiero encontrar ese amor de verdad.